Hey, it's been a while. Hold up. Nice. As I was saying, you may have been wondering where I was. I'd like to say I've been developing things or doing anything whatsoever with my time, but I was actually just sleeping. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to make something. And then so I banged this thing out in 3 days. Anyway, if you see my most recent short, you've seen that I made a data pack that allows you to cast spells by connecting dots, so to speak. I love fantasy-themed mechanics, so I thought I'd take a crack at making my own spellcasting system within Minecraft. But instead of making a closed spell system, I made this pack with the intention of allowing the user to create and modify their own spells, and then register them with a spellcast data pack. This way, you can use this data pack as a template for creating your own fantasy-themed data packs. This video will act as a sort of guide to how the mechanics work, as well as how to add your own spells to the data pack. First, install and reload a data pack. Once the data pack is loaded, grab yourself a custom item of your choice. In order for this item to be recognized by the data pack, you need to give it a custom tag, which is scast.caster gets 1b. You will also need to make this item consumable, with a very large consume time, which will allow you to actually quote-unquote use this item. I'm also going to make my stick shiny just because, as well as name it wand, because it's a wand. Once you have your item, if you hold down shift and right click, you'll see this grid appear. Looking at the different dots will select them, and draw lines between them. This will be how you select the spell that you want to cast. Right now, the world does not have any spells. You can check to see if a spell exists by running function list spells. And as you can see, there are no spells found. Let's start by adding a spell. In order to add a spell, you have to use the register spell function. Each spell has 4 arguments: the name of the spell, the function that it'll run. This will point to a function in a data pack. The cooldown of the spell. This can be positive or negative. This will change how the spell cooldown will work, but more on that later. And of course the sequence, which is the sequence of dots that you have to look at in order for it to select the spell. Now this data pack will come with 3 test spells. Those spells being magnet, particle, and lightning. These are just simple spells for you to try out and test the mechanics of this data pack. So let's start by adding the magnet one. In order to do this, you need to run the register spell function. First, we're going to give it the name, which is going to be magnet. Then we're going to give it a cooldown. And we'll set this to 1. Then we're going to run the function. This function is going to be scast spells / magnet. Lastly, we're going to give it the sequence. The sequence is the order of the dots you look at in order to select the spell. Each dot has a number assigned to it, ranging from 1 to 16, also in the spell function. For this sequence, we're going to do something simple. We're going to do 6, 7, just kidding. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 5. And just like that, the magnet has been registered. Now, in order to use that spell, you do 1, 2, 3, 5, and magnet has been selected. Let's test it out. Throw an item on the ground, hold down wand, and there we go. It's going to pull any item within 10 blocks to where you are. In case you're curious, all the magnet function is this one line of code, which will look at any item within 10 blocks of you and teleport them 1 block towards you. When registering the magnet spell, we set the cooldown to 1. The cooldown is how many ticks it'll take until you're able to use the spell again. So 20 ticks would be 1 second, and 1 tick is 1/20th of a second. In order to show this a little better, let's add another spell. Next, we'll add the lightning spell. This function will summon lightning at any block you're looking at, as long as that block is within 32 blocks of yourself. So again, we're going to run the function register spell, give it a name, spell, give it a cooldown. This time let's do 28. Give it a function, which in this case is scast spells / lightning, and then a sequence. For this one, I want to do something like 1, 4, 8, 7, 6. Yeah, that's fine. That'll work. there we go, lightning. And if you ever want to look at the spells you have registered, you can run function list spells, and it'll print out every spell you have currently. Now again, you want to hold down shift, hold right click, and you'll notice that it'll also say your current spell here. So right now you can see you have the magnet spell selected, but we can change that by doing 1, 4, 8, 7, 6. And now we have lightning. As you can see, it works perfectly fine. If you want to see the cooldown, you can run scoreboard, objectives, set display, sidebar, scast.cooldown. And if I hold down right click, it'll only cast a spell when the cooldown is 0. And if I go back to the magnet spell, you can see that the cooldown is always at 1 until I let go, and it goes to 0. It does actually reach 0, you just don't see it. Now I'm going to register one more spell, which will showcase another feature of the cooldown. This spell will be the flare spell, or the particle spell, as it is in the files. All it really does is put a particle in front of your face, and also damage any entities that are within a block of it. As you can see here, the code for this is really quite simple. So, one last time, we'll do function, register spell, give it a name. We're going to call this flame. Give it the function, which is scast::spells/particle. Give it the cooldown. Now this time, we want to make the cooldown -32. I'll show you what that does in a second. And of course we need the sequence. Now let's just make that like 5. And there we go. It seems to be working, but you notice that the cooldown is stuck at 32. And it's also executing every tick. When the cooldown is negative, that means the cooldown will not start counting down, or in this case up, because it's a negative number, until you let go. And of course, you cannot use the spell while cooldown is not 0. In order to remove a spell from the system, you run the function unregister spell, and pass in the name of the spell. For example, we can remove the magnet spell. Now, if we try and cast it, you'll see that it cannot find that spell. And if you run function list spells, magnet has been removed. You can also rename spells by using the function rename spell. Here, you pass in the old name and the new name. Let's rename flame to particle. Now if we do function list spells, we see that it's been renamed, and you can see it's been renamed here as well. As you can see, I try to make it as simple as possible for the user to add their own spells to the data pack, as well as remove and modify them. Another thing to note is that you do not have to have your function that you're running inside the same data pack. This data pack can call functions from other data packs as well, so in case you already started making another data pack and want to use the spellcast system for it, that's totally possible. And there are no ticking commands in this entire data pack, as everything is handled through advancements, so you won't have to worry about lag if that is an issue. Feel free to do whatever with this data pack, feel free to change it, modify it, anything you want really. Just give credit where credit is due. And of course, as always, enjoy.